go.
Alright guys, hello and welcome to the ECS Development League over here in N8. Sorry about all of those delays, not much we can do. It's basically just up to whenever the players want to start and get on the server, then we get underway. So unfortunately a couple of players taking their sweet time, but we are only going to be 12 minutes late, so it could have been worse. We're here of course for Rise Nation against Splyce in the Development League, and what's at stake is the top two teams in this league get a chance to qualify for the ECS main league. And the kind of weird thing about this specific matchup is that Splyce currently are in such bad shape out of the 8 teams that there's not really any chance that they can actually qualify for those 2 spots. So it's going to be questionable as to whether or not they're going to be, trying out new things, whether they're just going to be, I don't know, just having some fun with it. We'll have to see. Hopefully they do take it seriously though, because it would be nice to watch out for some good CS action as we head underway here on Inferno. And already Splyce going to switch things up with a quick rush towards the B bomb site. However, there are a few CTs here ready and waiting on the hold. One of them is Ace, who gets a quick headshot, and they haven't checked towards sandbags. VSA is going to get some free frags straight into the back of the heads, and they don't realize he's here because of the silence.
Behind us?
USP.
Y'all don't know where Splyce is, bro. I hate this guy.
There's Davey to get 1 kill, swings back around but ends up falling. And I think we could be having some fun in this game with the Splyce players if they continue to talk in game like that. 1-0 in favor of Rise Nation to start things off. I mean, VSA should never really be in that position where he can just shoot a couple of players in the back of the head, but Splyce don't check the corner. The flashbang kind of screws them over. And that allows VSA to open things up with 2 easy opening frags and really makes a huge difference in denying that quick B play. And now Splyce themselves will of course invest into the pistols. We've got CZs across the board except for Drone and Semphis with a dig each. Alright then, a little bit of team damage, why not? John G goes down to 94 HP early on. So it seems like Splyce are going to look to overwhelm the A-bomb site this time. However, Rise themselves have managed to stack 3 players towards the correct bomb site for a second round in a row by the looks of things. They're going to have 3 players more than ready to try and hold things off, one of them being Dazzle with the FAMAS to get the first frag. Push will continue through short as Moose finds 1 kill. There's the second with that UMP. The bomb is going to make its way on towards the site though. So a little bit of a boost to Splyce's economy there as they get the bomb planted. But Dazzle will clean things up with a quick triple kill thanks to that FAMAS. And Rise Nation will take the 2-0 lead as expected. And I don't think Splyce will quite have the money to be able to properly fully invest into this round. You can see even with the bomb plant, not really enough cash. So it should just be a few pistols. So heading into round 3, we are going to see Rise Nation not invest all that heavily. They don't really need to invest into full rifles, but you can see, VSA literally just down to a 5-7. And they're going to take the game to Splyce in this round. Ace is going so aggressive all the way down Banana. And I think Davey will be caught in the back. In the meantime, Moose sprays through the smoke for 2 opening kills. And this one might be done already as VSA comes through for the flank. There's a quick headshot. Oh, and the second one through the smoke. Always going to be in favor of Rise Nation that round as they take a quick 3-0 lead. And now we will get into the first gun round. And Splyce themselves are going to have full AKs here. And we might see Rise Nation sort of try and take this round as almost a bonus round where they don't really invest too much. You can see VSA has bought up the rifle, but other than that, the weaponry on the CT side is generally quite weak, just keeping SMGs. So this is a kind of you know, around that Rise Nation, they won't be too worried about losing if they can just sort of do some damage to Splyce's economy. That is a big, you know, positive still for this round. And you can see Splyce themselves holding really quite passively, so Rise Nation might be the team again to go for the early aggression. This time they've got the deep smoke down Banana, and so they're thinking about pushing through to gain control there, but it seems like they have decided against it. Ace will have the second smoke lined up to continue to press the Splyce players back. Of course, that banana position is so sort of cluttered that it is quite easy to gain control from the CT's perspective. If you just kind of molly it off at the start of the round, you can afford to go for those early banana aggressions and gain that control and sort of cut off one area of the map. But that looks like it won't be the case this time because Splyce have moved their way back over towards banana. So Rise Nation will be willing to give up banana control. Now the question for Splyce becomes, do they really want to commit to the B bomb site? And you can see the answer is no. They're going to move their way back over towards A. And again, there are 3 players here from the Rise Nation side, although a couple of them have SMGs, so it won't be that easy for them on the hold. But with 30 seconds left here, the time starts to become a factor for Splyce. They are going to be forced to push their way towards the bomb site, and here we go. The AK is going to attempt to get the entries. They don't check the corner again, but this time VSA is only good for 1 frag on the round. And as Davey gets the bomb planted in a 4-on-3, you would think Splyce would be able to close it out from this position, especially now that Moose goes down. Semphis in a great spot himself, and Splyce are just about going to frag out with the AKs on their side. So Ace will probably just look for exit kills at this point. I mean, saving an MP9 into the next round isn't really that valuable because, as we were saying, Rise Nation will have plenty of cash to still buy up. And if he could keep the Splyce's economy as weak as possible, that would be something that would really help Rise Nation into the future. Davey spots him out and actually does go down there. So Ace doing a little bit more damage with this MP9 and also racking up some more cash for himself. But it looks like he won't get too much more as he ends up going down to the bomb. A little bit strange. It doesn't really matter too much again. Not really worried about saving the MP9. We are going to see Rise Nation go for the double AWP setup themselves. This is the switch up that they want to go for. After, you know, again, using that last round as sort of a bonus one, we're going to see Dazzle and Ace both go for AWPs in their hands. And they will go to opposite sides of the map. I think Ace had quite a good spawn to peek mid early on, and with no AWP on the T side of things, you can see he's so comfortable in trying to take this opening engagement. But Splyce, with just their AKs, are not happy to give it to him. So Splyce this time seem to be lining themselves up for a quite quick A play. There's a few players here, specifically Moose is still in position to get 2 kills, however he ends up falling. Moose finds a third on the round before he goes down.
I didn't know that guy was there. I didn't see him either, what the fuck?
So Moose getting boosted up quickly works for 3 frags. However, still Rise Nation are forced to retake the B bomb site, or sorry, A bomb site in a 2v2. Here comes Davey peeking out. Such quick reactions for the first frag. And John G is forced to clutch 1v2. He knows where both players are positioned now. However, Davey is still spraying towards him. John G down to just 14 HP. There's the first kill, and he only needs 1 more bullet. But Drone finishes him off to just about scrape the round in favour of Splyce. Not exactly convincing, but Splyce getting the job done there with their second round win. And more importantly, they have managed to break Rise Nation's economy at quite an early point here. And I think Inferno is quite a balanced map, so breaking the economy is a really strong start now for Splyce after losing that initial pistol. A couple of good gun rounds, they get themselves straight back into contention. And Rise Nation themselves just going to go down to pistols here so they can buy into the coming round. I see someone in chat saying, yeah, Inferno's CT-sided. I think the old version, there was a period where it was really CT-sided, but on this new version of Nuke especially, Inferno, I think there's a few more options for the terrorists, and also just kind of the way the meta has evolved. I think the terrorists can really get a few rounds together fairly easily. I think it's, if anything, like 8-7 is a fair scoreline either way, to be honest. Like, it's a really quite balanced map, I think, for the most part. Here we go, Davey, jumping Mac 10, as you do. Casual stuff for the first kill. The B stack doesn't quite work for Rise Nation this time. Again, pretty decent idea, you know, you've got to take a risk in these sort of rounds. They decide to stack B, and they choose wrong this time. So a little bit unfortunate for Rise Nation, but they're just going to have to deal with it. Of course, Davey is more than happy to just throw himself forward very aggressively. He doesn't really care about losing this Mac 10 and would much rather farm up that extra cash. He's already made 1.2k off of those 2 kills alone. I'm sure he will be looking for more. Again, smart stuff from Splyce. There's no need for them to sort of risk going anywhere, so they know that Davey has cleared out this whole area of the map in towards CT spawn. So they just make sure their AKs and AWPs are 100% safe and that they don't lose any of their guns and don't make any dumb mistakes in just costing them a rifle. You know, there's no need to risk anything there when you know Rise Nation have pistols. So as we head back underway into another gun round, Splyce are gonna get that first entry. Mitch spraying through the smoke, through the wood panel for the opening kill. And Jonji doesn't even really get an opportunity to do anything in this round. And look at where Splyce are going. They're gonna move their way in towards CT spawn and wrap all the way around to the B bomb site. But Ace seems aware of this. He is going to be holding down this position with the AWP. And that might just make Splyce think twice about peeking towards his position, as he will still hold true for a second thrag. Oh, it's 3 for Ace to completely shut out the push.
Smoke. Talk to each other. Someone flash. Or just flash him. Like, you had full nades.
He's not wrong.
Did pop him with it.
Mitch left in a 1-on-4. Again, yeah, you can't just leave an AWPer holding that angle. He's going to hit those shots every single time. Mitch ends up getting caught in the back. Rise Nation will get themselves a 4-3 lead after losing a fair few rounds in a row. A nice little solid round to get themselves straight back into the lead. Although it's not going to be sort of all that convincing just yet, if you like, because Splyce certainly still have the cash for the buy. So we're going to see Semphis and Ace both have the AWPs in their hands. Ace is going to go over towards Banana, as is Semphis, so we could just be seeing some early fights of these AWPers going up against each other. Though just as I say that, the Incendiaries seem to be slowing things down, and Roka just gets pinned to that position, and a perfect double nade from Rise Nation takes down a couple. And I thought Ace landed that shot there, but didn't get any kills on the hold, except for the nade. I'm surprised that AWP shot didn't quite connect. Either way, Dazzle is still rotated over just in time for a frag of his own, and here goes Moose again on this boosted position. However, he's only good for 1 frag this time, so it's mainly up to VSA to at least try and get 1 kill on the hold. He needs to win this fight, and he does. Davey gets dropped, leaving Semphis in a 1 versus 2. He can try and isolate VSA towards the site with a quick push here, and he will look to do just that as he finds the opening headshot and turns it down to a 1v1.
I should have killed him, man. Why am I so bad?
Semphis going for an advanced position, and this is going to work out so well for him because Dazzle has no idea of where Semphis is positioned. Just that small risk in pushing there towards long A might just win this round for Semphis.
Yeah, this is a really good play, though.
And Davey knows how good the play is. Dazzle was just going to attempt to stick the defuse, but Semphis should swing out in time, although the defuse might just come through. Oh my god, that must have been close, but Semphis plays it to perfection to get the kill just before the defuse comes out. And Semphis is just so cerebral, flanking all the way around, no chance for the opposition. And we're going to see Rise Nation themselves take... Wait. Okay, so my game sounds are really quiet. I didn't realize that he got the defuse. I'm not going to lie. I was gonna say, right, I thought he should have had the defuse by now. I was really confused. Alright, look, it's kind of late here in Europe, you know. I've got excuses, guys, come on. So yeah, Rise Nation get the defuse at the end there. Again, Semphis, I think he played that pretty damn well. He just didn't really peek quite in time. A little bit weird that he you know, peeked so slowly considering he knew where the bomb was planted, but I guess he was scared of the fake defuse. And to be fair, I think most players there won't really risk sticking the defuse entirely. So fair enough. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. The defuse does come through, so it's Rise Nation who pull off the clutch, thanks to Dazzle. In comes a flash towards top mid. Splyce will still have money for the buy. Rokas falls down to a CZ, but other than that, certainly a strong buy on the Splyce side, although not quite as strong as Rise Nations, with pretty much full rifles on the CT side of things. And already Splyce are making their way over towards A with some quick aggression. Dazzle is the man who might just hear these steps, and as the push comes through, they should be somewhat aware of it. But it doesn't matter how aware you are when they're just overwhelming you like this. There's nothing that the Rise Nation guys can do. As Drone gets 2 entries of his own, it's just going to be down to Ace and John G. And I think they're going to be a bit frustrated at this one because there's basically nothing for them to do from this position. Oof, John G even gets dinked through library, but he should just about scurry away with the ult and look to save.
But I guess they are playing a dude hiding spawn, question mark?
I mean, they were. He was sort of in towards library, but yeah. So Ace and John G should just save the double AWPs. It doesn't seem like Splyce are too interested in hunting anyone down when their money is so questionable. So they are going to have to contend with the double AWP setup from Rise Nation, even if they themselves don't really have all that much cash in the bank. So as we head into round number 10, we are going to see Rise Nation, of course, force up. And Semphis doesn't seem all that aware of this. He himself has gone for a Mac 10. To be fair, he didn't have the best of money either, so he's just going to run in first with a Mac, but that might not work because Ace lines them up for the collat. 2 in 1 with his AWP. He has left John G by himself on towards this B bomb site, but you can see Splyce maybe a little bit rattled by that early 2 kills coming through. They're not committing to the full on B rush. Instead, they are going to slow things down, and this has allowed Rise Nation themselves to get into slightly better positions with a second player rotating his way over towards the B bomb site. Drone's Molotov is pretty well placed for clearing out that one position, and as he gets that entry, we go back down to a 3v3. And more importantly, Moose is only here with the CZ, so this is going to be quite a tricky hold. He swings out and just about gets 1 kill before he is traded upon by Drone, who's already got 3 kills on the round. And he might just go for some more as he goes aggressive in towards Ruins. This next fight is so important. Drone is so confident though. He himself goes for the peek, gets the kill on towards VSA.
I mean, I knew he was going to go for a retard peek at B.
Yeah. That's just hella lame.
Like, if we just have someone crouch, they'll at least hold the left.
Dazzle attempting the retake, but ends up going down, unfortunately for him. Again, always going to be difficult in the 1v2. It was much more important that earlier fight where Drone won, and Drone just went man mode that round to get all 4 frags. And again, despite Rise Nation gaining a decent advantage at the early stages thanks to the AWPs, it doesn't really lead to anything for them. And we are back to an even scoreline at the early stages, 5-5. The Splyce themselves should be taking the lead here up against pretty much a full eco. I think Inferno is a map where if you can get the pistols in the right positions, they can be fairly successful, but with such little investment, with just P250s on most of the players, that just makes it so hard to do anything. We're going to see Davey swing out into the open and spot out a firing squad, but he avoids the bullets well for the 2 openings. Oh man, killing the chicken is a bit unnecessary, but he finishes off a 3rd. If you count the chicken kill, it's a 4k on the round for Davey. Animals have feelings too, guys. Davey gonna go hungry for more, just running around with the Mac 10. Finally, he falls at the hands of John G, but it doesn't really lead to too much.
I knew they were gonna fucking play in halls that round, dude. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, you
Fly
get him,
went through the
Davey.
window.
I mean, you didn't need to kill the chicken, but, you know, we'll live with it. What's your name, Caster? My name's Hawk. You can see it in the title and the name of the channel. So round number 12, we get to see Rise Nation buy again. But they've been struggling a little bit in these recent gun rounds, and that has been with the double AWPs they've been wanting. So with just 2 UMPs alongside the rifles now, this doesn't feel like it's going to be that great of an opportunity for Rise Nation. They are going to stack 3 players towards B early on, so I like this decision. However, again, Dazzle seems to be rotating back towards A quickly because we've seen Rise Nation be willing to go aggressive towards both sides, but just look at what the Flames are doing, so much damage early on. However, still, as the trades come back and forth, it will be slightly in favour of Rise Nation, thanks to Ace getting a kill there on the edge of the smoke. In the meantime, the rest of Splyce are going to make their way back over towards A. And Rise Nation have gained a fair amount of control towards Banana, so Dazzle will be on the rotate here. However, I don't think he will get to the site in time. Instead, it will be up to Moose to hold things down, and he will be able to do so as he gets 2 of his own, looking for the 3rd. And a very nice, clean triple kill for Moose shuts out the A play. As we go back to a 6-6 scoreline. And again, these teams yet to be really separated in these recent rounds at least. And I think, you know, this, from what I've seen, this kind of backs up the fact that I think, you know, Inferno is fairly evenly matched in terms of CT and T-sided. Why are Rise Nation favourites? Basically because Splyce are at a point where they're not really playing for anything in this league now. It's almost certain that they won't be able to get the promotion spots. Whereas Rise Nation are currently in 3rd place and they really need these points. So I think a lot of people thought Splyce might not take this as seriously, but it seems like they still are fully going for it, which is good to see. In goes Drone for the first entry. The smoke has come through. And I think Splyce now should just be happy with the man advantage and really slow things down. They're quite spread out across the map so far, so after getting the opening pick, there's no need to really risk any unnecessary aggression, as Dazzle's going to rattle off some shots. And he nearly connects. However, this time Semfish surely will clear the sandbags. Yes, he does. Not going to fall for that one twice in one game. He gets that kill on towards John G. Dazzle's still holding with the AWP towards the B bomb site. However, Splyce won't be testing him. Instead, they will be testing VSA and Moose on the A hold. But Moose has been so solid so far on the A bomb site. Unfortunately, this time he's only good for 1 kill before he falls. VSA himself throws out the incendiary, but it won't lead to too much. So as the bomb goes down, it's tough to see what Rise Nation can really do here. Splyce are already in quite strong positions. They have an incendiary, which Roka will throw out. Could have been used for the bomb if needed, but instead it will just slow down any potential push. And we won't be seeing a push whatsoever because VSA is going to fall away from the site alongside Dazzle to save what they can. Splyce won't not try it. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen of like the you know, the Peekers Advantage podcast and stuff like that, it seems like they're all sort of have the right mentality about the game, where I think they would still take this seriously. So I'm just trying to explain, you know, why I think the odds were like that. But yeah, I think that Splyce certainly would still take this seriously. I believe, though, yeah, I think it is literally mathematically impossible they can get the 2 promotion spots, which is all this league is really for. But, you know, you still want to give a good showing for your fans and everything, of course. In the meantime, Rise Nation themselves currently have 8 points from 5 games. We're going to have to hold that for a second because Mitch gets a kill and a team kill in there. He makes up for it, though, with a quick headshot to open up the A bomb site. And I didn't quite see that Rise Nation this round. They stuck 3 players towards B for a fair amount of time early on. Oftentimes you see the 3B stack to try and counteract any early aggression, but it's not really often all that long. Normally they will rotate the player back fairly quickly. However, this time they decided to commit to the stack, and it didn't seem to work out as Semphis lines up a free kill straight through the smoke. And Dazzle and Ace again are on the outside looking in. So they're just going to have to save what they can. And this has really been the story of this game so far for Rise Nation. On the initial hold to the bomb site, they're just not getting enough kills. It's as simple as that. There's Dazzle with a nice shot, warming himself up for an exit kill.
VSA just we kill the guy in Moose Lane. After we kill him, whatever, VSA just walk peaks.
Of course, last round of the half here, so the saved guns will allow a decent buy from Rise Nation, but considering how this game started, I don't think they'll be too happy with the position they've got themselves into. You can see Splyce up 8-6, and I'm sure they'll be hoping to make it 9-6. Couple of nades coming through early on. Drone is in trouble here if the nades come through towards him, and there we go. Again, the nade stack gets a free frag. Jonji's going to go aggressive through those flames, which is a little bit of a risk after getting that first frag. You can see Semphis attempting the wallbang back to take someone down. Ooh, nice movement from Ace, and it might just reward him with a kill. Indeed, it does, as Semphis is dropped, and more importantly, that's the bomb fallen down through the smoke towards Banana. Roka tries to recover it, but at that point, there's almost nothing that can be done. Quick little 2K to close out the half there for Ace. Pretty nice movement, as we see an 8-7 half in favour of Splyce. So heading into the second half here, you'd think this pistol round could be really quite pivotal in deciding which way this one might go. We're going to see VSA buy up a set of nades for Rise Nation. Other than that, they are happy to go for Kevlar. In the meantime, Davey going to go for a kit and a smoke. So as we head underway into the second half, interestingly enough, Splyce are actually going to go with 3 players pushing down mid. No, only 2 of them pushing down mid. They're going to try and sandwich the players in towards Banana. In comes the first kill already, though, and it might just be the B site lost, because you can see the players trying to flank through aren't really going to get here in time. Roka trying to overwhelm the one player. It's Jonji behind the wood, and they just spray away to take him out. But VSA and Ace are certainly still in a winnable position here. In comes the first fight. VSA needs to really come out on top quickly, and there is the first headshot. Make it a second with that Glock. It's all up to Davey, but he is out of ammo, so he is forced to fall back to safety. He's got the defuse kit alongside a smoke, so always the potential for him to stick the defuse, and VSA has to be scared of that now. But as he swings out into the open, 1 bullet is all he needs. With a 4K on the round, VSA pulls Rise Nation through for the pistol. And that might just make all the difference for Rise Nation after a relatively weak ending to that first half. They get themselves this pistol round win, and now Splyce themselves will start on the back foot with just pistols to play with in this round number 17. I like you casting. Thanks, man. It's a little bit late here in the UK, so I might flub my words a little bit, you know. But hopefully I do the job. So again, we are all tied up. We've had a fair few positions where both teams have had the exact same amount of rounds. This time it's Dazzle with the MAC-10, who will be looking to swag on his opponents. I feel like the MAC-10 has the most swag out of all the guns in CS. You just run around and just don't care. We're going to see Dazzle do that here as he goes aggressive. There is already the first kill with that SMG up close. Mitch with the CC is in a fairly good position here as he gets that first frag. He goes out a bit too far though as he ends up falling. And so I don't believe Rise Nation are going to go back to B, even though Splyce seemed to think that. So with there only being 1 player committed to this site for Splyce, I don't think they're going to have too much of a chance as Semphis gets shot in the back. So just Roka and Drone left. I mean, at this point, you might as well save the CZs. I don't think you're really going to do anything on the retake attempt. Maybe playing for exit kills is also understandable. Are you using autodirector? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like just me running this stream, so I'm not good enough to control the camera as well, which is a little bit sad. Again, Rise Nation doing the smart thing, all exiting together, except for Ace, who's going to stick in towards Pit. I mean, he's only on 80 HP. This is a bit of a risk. Here comes the flash, not quite a nade. The bomb was planted quite far away, and the Splyce players died to the bomb themselves. So, not exactly sure what the play was there from Splyce, but doesn't particularly work out for them. They don't save the CZs. Yeah. Whatever. Again, Splyce just on a hard eco here, so this is going to be likely quite a boring round, but you know, sometimes these rounds can produce miracles. Smoke over the top from Rise Nation. Despite being up against an eco, they're still using their utility wisely, which is always good to see. They don't overestimate their chances of winning. In comes the USP from Davey. There's a quick kill for him before the trade comes through. Elsewhere, John G alongside Ace, making things happen over towards
They don't do anything together
B.
or have any plan.
And yeah, I think I agree with Davey there. Just the fact that when you're on these hard ecos, you might as well just stack towards a bomb site, right? In comes John G finding a kill on the banana aggression. Looking for another one. Tap, tap, tapping away.
I don't get it, man.
A little bit of a struggle, but gets the kill. What was your viewers record? It depends if you're talking about on my channel or for stuff I've casted for like other channels. Like today I got to do NIP versus Space Soldiers, which was really, really awesome. And that had like 8,000 viewers, so that was insane. Am I doing this for free? Yeah, this is just for free. Like this is ECS just runs this, and then the winners get to go, like, it's like a contest, and they choose who they think is the best caster, and then the winner gets to go down to, like, cast with Dan and James and stuff like that. So it's a really cool opportunity. Are you going to be casting Nuke too? Yeah, of course. It's a best of two, we got to go for it. Gonna have to get a bit more serious here because we are going to be underway into another gun round here in round number 19. Splyce have gone for the full rifles on their side, and they've actually got a fairly strong buy here as we see the push coming quickly. Mitch should be able to incendiary this off, and that's going to slow things down. He's got a fair amount of information for his team there, spotting out a couple of opponents early on. In goes the deep nade to do a little bit more damage. So Rise Nation attempts to go for the quick play out of apartments, but they get slowed down, countered by the incendiary from Splyce. Now let's see if Rise Nation have a plan B for this round, after not being able to go for that quick A aggression. Seems like their plan B is to go all the way back towards Banana and attempt to push towards this site. So it's good to see they had something else in mind. Elsewhere you can see Splyce on their CT hold are going to boost up Drone. And this is always a really nice position to play, especially with a silenced M4. It can be fairly difficult to spot out someone playing in towards this spot. So as the smokes come through, Drone will have to peer over the smoke because his teammate has already fallen. There goes one kill for Drone, and he decides to just fall off after finding one frag. Here goes Mitch, should be able to get a free frag. So Splyce gain a man advantage, but the bomb has gone down, and Rise Nation are in fairly solid positions towards the bomb site. Specifically, Ace is in a great position over towards Banana to be able to watch towards the bomb. So that's something that Splyce are going to have to deal with, and with only a few flashes to work with, they can't smoke off his position or anything like that. They have to focus on getting that frag. In comes the boost for Mitch. He gets slightly blinded. He should be good for this first kill, but the timing is slightly off, and that allows VSA himself to capitalize with 2 quick kills. It's just going to be Semphis left, and John G shuts him down with the P250. And again, as I was kind of saying, Rise Nation were just in such strong positions there that even though Splyce had the man advantage, it's incredibly difficult to retake that B site. Rise Nation set up the crossfire towards the bomb site, and that was even without requiring the player towards Banana. You know, he was in a really good position. Even if the trades came through towards the bomb site, he was in a strong position to attempt to deny the defuse. So Rise Nation gain an 11-8 lead and continue to keep Splyce's money low. What's your Twitter? I've literally got my Twitter in the title, at Hawker_CS. I'm a little bit of a sellout, you know. I need those followers. You prefer an A4 in that position? Yeah, at the same time, I think that's a position, like, boosted up on those flower pots that fairly often still gets completely, like, overlooked by a fair few players. So that's why I don't mind. I mean, I think either is good there, right? The A4 can spray a lot down, but you saw Drone was mainly focused on just getting one kill and then falling back, it seemed. So he seems to think of it as more of a one-and-done position by the looks. Again, Rise Nation cleaning up this round fairly easily. They're going to make their way.
Just gotta. Why do we peek into people, man? Like.
Oh, Mitch. Let's not talk about that one, Mitch. Not able to get the kill. So the opponent survives on just 6 HP. And Roka is a little bit tilted.
I had a free kill. He just 181 tapped me.
Ooh, nice shot from Roka. Team kill from Ace. A couple of weird things going on in this round. Didn't quite see how that happened, but Ace, after killing his teammate, is going to make a run for it by the looks of things. A little bit embarrassed as it happens, and there we go. VSA finds the final kill. So Rise Nation 12-8 up now, and at this point, Splyce are really going to have to rely on this round. However, this is the first round that Semphis has been able to pick up an AWP. So let's see what difference that can make for Splyce, and more importantly, where he plays with it, because I think for the most part he has been towards that A bomb site. And we are going to see him continue to play towards A, this time with the AWP in his hands. In the meantime, Splyce have 3 players stacked towards B, and just look at what Rise Nation themselves are doing. They're going to go for such a fast B play, but this is so difficult to pull off. Drone already finding 2 kills. The crossfire is just insanely strong when there's 3 players committed to B. And Rise Nation, after taking these rounds, you know, relatively slowly, they try and switch it up despite having a fair amount of success with the slow rounds. And they just get completely shut down from this round. It's not over just yet, though, as Jonji gets himself a kill and brings us back to a 2v4. And again, if Rise Nation could just do some damage to Splyce's economy, that would still be a decent way to, you know, even though they lose the round, a decent way to keep Splyce's economy low and really just keep chipping away at that CT money that is already looking pretty grim for the most part. Mitch tapping away, does a fair bit of damage. He's holding this B site with Roka, who is low, so if Mitch goes down here, this B site looks a little bit vulnerable. But Mitch won't be going down anytime soon as he gets 2 kills. And Splyce already had a player rotated over to be happy to stack 3 players there. So Splyce bring us back to 12-9. And of course, Rise Nation still with plenty of money. And now this round becomes really important at this point. If Splyce lose this, their economy might be a bit questionable. I mean, I think they should still be able to get a fair buy, so it's not as important as you might think. But let's see what Rise Nation go for, because again, they've been having a lot of success just going for those slow plays. And in the previous round, it seemed like they were just trying to switch up the pace a little bit and catch Splyce off guard. That didn't work with a quick B play, and we will see them go back into a more sort of default slow setup to start the round, which is nice to see. In the meantime, Splyce themselves with a bit of aggression down Banana. I'm interested to see if Drone sticks around here with just the silenced M4. Seems like he is happy to do so. So that might prompt Roka to rotate off of the B site and stack more towards A, because Drone is fairly deep in terms of getting that info. There's the first shot from Semphis, and this AWP might just make the difference. As he gets the first frag for his team, that could make a huge impact on this round. We are going to see Rise Nation slowly make their way back towards B, but look at this from Splyce. This could be pretty bad for them. Okay, it's not too bad. Just as I thought Drone was rotating off as well, he's actually just falling back from Banana, not playing this aggressive position where he could just get taken down by himself. So I'm actually a fan of this from Splyce, although I would prefer Roka to be sticking more around the B bomb site now, because if the push comes towards B, look at how long the rotate is from Splyce here, even with Roka playing in towards Arch. Drone is not going to have the information that quickly because he's holding such a passive position. So as the smokes come through, Splyce are going to have to react incredibly quickly here. Jonji attempts to pre-fire the position and Drone is forced to fall off. So Rise Nation should just be able to gain full control of the B bomb site without a single kill. And look at this cheeky off angle from Ace, peering over the smoke for that first kill. We go back down to a 4v4. Molotov will slow things down further. Moose himself still has a Molotov for the T side, so that could go towards the bomb if needed. And again, Splyce having to try and retake this B site in a 4v4 isn't exactly all that easy. One flash is quite good as we get even trades, but Ace is still making himself known as he gets a couple of kills and leaves just Semphis alive. 3 frags for Semphis on the round, but it looks like he's going to get forced to fall back. Just not enough time left. And again, kind of weird decisions by Splyce there to rotate so heavily off. I wonder who made that call and why they made that call to rotate off, because when you're playing Drone so passively here, he's not really going to be able to gain information. You know, if Drone is down here towards Banana, he's going to spot the players coming through, hopefully get 1 kill, and then you have plenty of time for the Arch player to get back towards the B site and try and hold things off. But of course, if Drone is just all the way back here, he's not going to spot out the B push for so long. The Roka wasn't really ready to get into position in time. And they had a man advantage already, so it wasn't really that necessary, it felt like there from Splyce. Either way, Splyce will have to force up into this round. They do have the AWP in the hands of Semphis, and he was landing some solid shots in that previous round, but it didn't really lead to anything, of course, because they were stuck on that retake. Spray from John G. Nade comes through as John G gets taken down to 60 HP. Wow, caster better coach than Splyce. I mean, the thing is, it's much easier to say stuff like that when I'm looking at the minimap and can see exactly where the players are coming from, you know? It's much easier for me to say, you should have more players towards B, when I can see they're about to push the B site, right? So I guess you have to look at it from Splyce's perspective, and, you know, for all we know, maybe they had some sort of read that they thought didn't quite work out. Either way, 34 seconds left here. Rise Nation taking this round incredibly slowly. And they will look to push towards this B bomb site by the looks of things. Here come the smoke Sam flashes through. They're going to go for a bit of a full execute, although only 1 smoke up. So they have to be a little bit worried of that Ruins position. In comes the push out. Roka lining them up, but he's only good for 1 kill. And again, the B site looking vulnerable as Rise Nation overwhelm the 2 players holding. And at this point, Splyce, do they even really want to go for the retake? Well, maybe now they do, because Mitch finds a quick headshot. In comes the peek from John G, and he's so quick with his AK. That's Drone who loses his head. And now Mitch and Davey stuck in a 2-on-3, and it looks like they themselves are not going to be comfortable attempting this retake. And at this point, Splyce, with not that much money, only having a couple of guns saved, this might just be a little bit too hard for them to overcome. Mitch and Davey will get to save an AK and FAMAS respectively, but that's most part what they're going to have to work with in this round, because already you can see the rest of the team unlikely to really be able to get that strong weaponry. We'll get to see the buys come in, and I would assume Splyce at this point would force up, considering they're 14-9 down, but surprisingly enough, Splyce have not decided to invest all their money into this round. They might just be trying to play for overtime here. Either way, Mitch is going to take the fight to the terrorists as he goes aggressive down mid for that first frag. Davey himself holding off towards second mid, finds a kill of his own, and both rifles are going to open things up. But Ace is still here with the AWP, finding a frag of his own. So Rise Nation aren't out of this one just yet. Despite losing a couple of guns at the early stages, they bring things back. Dazzle gets 1 kill, but Davey is still here, ready for the trades. So it's just up to Ace and VSA, and you can see the players have already pushed out all the way through Banana, so they have full control, and they don't have to be worried of B whatsoever. Ace goes for the peek, there's the first shot, but Roka is more than ready to swing out for the trades. And it's going to be VSA in a 1-on-2.
I don't know where I could go.
Some chance here, because you can see, I don't know what Roka's doing.
What do you mean?
I mean, I was going to say that I think he has some chance here because you could see both players were isolated, so he can just turn this into 2 1v1s. And now Davey has to get a 3k to win the round with the FAMAS.
Clutch God versus Clutch God.
We should go over a setup for that.
VSA holds the aggressive angle, and Davey
We have
doesn't
better
even
clutch
fire
No,
a
I
single
just-
shot before he goes down. Not exactly sure what Roka was doing there. I guess he wasn't really expecting the peak to come through, and that kind of costed him. Either way, Splyce will have the buy into this, what could be last round. Ace, don't do it. Oh, come on, man. So Splyce have the full rifles in this round number 25, and this could be the last round of this first map here on Inferno. Of course, remember, this is a best of 2 we've got going on today, and Inferno, this first map, was picked by Rise Nation. So heading into Nuke, Splyce might be feeling a little bit more comfortable there, but remember, this is a best of 2 where the bans sort of work out so that for the most part, it bans down to the middle of both teams' map pools. And again, Rise Nation, when they've been playing things slowly, their executes towards the site have for the most part been incredibly successful. So let's see if that continues here, because they are going to go a little bit more quickly towards A by the looks of things. Although not committing just yet. With a minute left on the clock, they still certainly don't have to commit here, especially considering they have saved a fair amount of their utility in their back pockets. Just going to come through. Semphis is there for the first kill, but in comes the quick trade, and Rise Nation will look to overwhelm the 2 players holding towards this A-bomb site, but one of them is Davey. VSA jumping round the corner, takes him down.
This guy just jumping one-taps me through the fucking smoke, man.
I saw it, Davey. We're going back to a 2v2. Splyce still with some success on the hold, but are going to have to retake at an even position. Roke is going to boost drone up. I like this play from them. He's going to catch Moose off guard in towards Pit. Nice little decision on the fly to go for that boost, and it makes a huge difference. But VSA is still holding towards the back of the sights, and he will win the 1-on-2 to clutch it for Rise and to win it for Rise. 16-9 here on this first map. And that is a position that so often is overlooked, and you can see why VSA was playing there. Because if the first player doesn't expect it, you turn it into a 1-on-1. And that 1-on-1 goes in his favour. Rise Nation take this first map 16-9. But make sure to come back after the break for Nuke, because Splyce could still salvage at least a 1-1 scoreline in this best of 2 today. We will be back with Nuke as soon as it is ready after the break.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you
gotta know that this ain't living, but we could run from Elysium and let it burn, let it burn. You've gotta know that nothing lasts forever.
Alright folks, welcome back to the ECS NA Development League Season 4 matches for today. As always, my name is Hawker, back to bring you the action for this second map, and we just saw Rise Nation take a fairly convincing first map into their favour. They will now have to play against Splyce on their own map choice of Nuke. And I think this map could certainly end up being really quite close. You know, from what I've seen, both these teams have had pretty decent results on this map. You know, Splyce have beat Misfits, who also themselves are fairly decent on Nuke. But then at the same time, Rise Nation have also beat Complexity on this map. So I think both teams have certainly shown some strength on this map in the past. And it's good to see both are willing to play it here. As we head underway into the pistol round, Rise Nation will be starting on the T side, Splyce on the CT side, going for a defuse kit with Davey again, as is standard. Whereas Rise Nation themselves have just gone for 5 sets of Kevlar, which is a little bit strange, I think, for Nuke particularly. They're going to go quickly on towards this A bomb site and try to go down the vents to get back down towards B. And that might just be possible, as there's only 2 kills on the hold for Splyce.
This game is actually bad.
Semphis blaming the game. Gotta do it sometimes. Sounds like me in matchmaking. We get to see them go down the vents. There's the first kill for Mitch. Looking for another one, but Dazzle is there to get the trade. Unfortunately for him, Roka is also there for the trade in reply. And oh my god! Roka! What was that shot? Finds the final kill of the round. And Splyce will happily take the 1-0 lead thanks to the defuse. Although Rise Nation themselves should just have 1 eco and then be straight back into the buys. Oh, here we go, boys. Not a weapon you see often, but Davey going to buy up the auto shotgun. And especially on Nuke, I very much like this decision. The shotgun gives even more kill reward than the SMGs, and it's certainly incredibly viable. I expect we'll see it played up on top of Hut, which is where Hiko made this weapon incredibly popular. Or at least I think he was one of the more high-profile players to do it in the past. Here comes the peak early on. Not expecting the pistols to do too much. Davey slightly repositioning with the shotgun, hungry for some kills, because he wants to farm up that money. There's already the first frag coming through. Drone is taking some awkward engagements there, having to try and tap at some heads, but he will get 1 frag before he goes down. In the meantime, Moose has got himself onto the B side. But it's not going to lead to too much because the bomb is dropped down. So unlikely to see all that much come through from this round for Rise Nation, although Ace actually finds a frag with the Glock there before Davey gets the trade. And we're back down to a 2v2.
Corey got killed.
This is so
Moose is flanking all the way round.
Yo,
They just won't expect him from here, but Moose nearly whiffs. He gets the headshot eventually, and it's just going to be Roka.
We can win this.
There's no way they
Damn,
lose.
we love the throw.
Roka wins these.
He's giving him the bomb though. Why? You could just sit there and just post on it. They don't even have armor. Why? Like, I don't understand.
Well, Roka has let them recover the bomb. It slipped away from under his fingers. And so now the bomb should just go down. I think they're going to come towards the B bomb site. And now Roka's forced to come down the vents, and that makes clear where he is coming from. He's not going to check the right-hand side. Roka doesn't swing around in time. And Rise Nation, with such little investment, will take the round straight back at them, back to a 1-1 scoreline. And I don't think Splyce will be too happy with how that one played out. I mean, you could already hear it from what Davey was saying earlier, but we won't dwell on it. Instead, they will have to look forward into this future round where they will elect to go for the 4-spy. They have spent all their money on this one, and Davey is the one man with the big investment into the auto shotgun. Roka himself with the MP9 alongside pistols for the rest of the lineup. In comes the peak early on, and Semphis will be dropped at the early stages, and here comes John G pushing through so quickly. Roka again is caught in the back, as Rise Nation will take this B-bomb site with ease. Here comes John G looking to win another fight. A little bit of a strange decision to jump, but it works out in his favour. Davey up close and personal gets a free kill with the auto shotgun, and that's an AK straight into his hands. Drone holding off on this position again. Ace going out a bit too far. So a few mistakes made from Rise Nation here, a little bit unnecessarily. That's only the Mach 10 lost, so Drone won't really be particularly using that. Instead, he will stick with the Deeg and hope for a quick kill or two. In the meantime, Davey elsewhere finds another frag with the AK before he falls. The Splyce will get a little bit of damage done, but it won't lead to a round win, as Rise Nation will take the 2-1 lead themselves. And of course, Splyce not really having the money to work with. Despite Davey getting a kill or two, you know, that auto shotgun kill certainly gave him a fair amount of bonus money. He's the one man with 3,000, but even that isn't really enough to do too much in this round. So we will just see Splyce pretty much on a hard eco. And at this point, I mean, you might as well just ask me questions in chat, because let's be honest, this round is unlikely to be entertaining. Should just be very one-sided in favour of Rise Nation. Although, at the same time, with how this game has started, to be honest, anything could happen. Splyce could win this round, who even knows. We have got 3 Mach 10s for Rise Nation, as they spot out for the early aggression, and there's Roka with the USP to get the quick double dink. The push will continue towards the B-bomb site, and the pistols are finding some frags. VSA gets 2 before he goes down, but that is the bomb dropped. And Mitch and Drone are the 2 players left for Splyce. And with the bomb being dropped down, they're in pretty solid positions to try and hold this here.
Maybe you went a little fast.
You guys literally did not have to come.
Oh, Abe, but I'm not gonna leave you.
Brennan, we should kill the sync guy next time.
I didn't want you guys to come lower with me. I don't know why you...
I mean, Rise Nation looking to prove me wrong. I said this round wouldn't be that entertaining. And it turns out it is, because we're down to a 2v2.
Spot than the fucking vent.
Thanks to a couple of mistakes. 35 seconds, and Rise Nation are going to be forced to move forward. And Dazzle pushes all by himself. Ends up going down, which leaves Moose 1v2. There is the first quick kill, but Drone goes aggressive into the vents, trying to catch him in the back. But Moose is more than ready for it. Rise Nation control the round at the end, but my goodness, was that closer than they would have hoped for at the start of the round. They take the 3-1 lead into their favour. And now Splyce themselves will, of course, have the full buy in their hands. So if they can get the round that close with just pistols, I'm sure they will be hoping for a round win here with the rifles, as Semphis will have that AWP to hold possibly towards outside, although he may just look in towards the squeaky door instead. Splyce using quite a lot of their nades early on here to try and counteract any early aggression, and you can already see the lack of utility on any of the Splyce players remaining. That might make it difficult to slow down pushes that could come later on into the round. And you can see Rise Nation themselves are more than happy to just sit back and wait for those nades on the CT side to dwindle. They themselves, of course, have plenty of nades still at their disposal. Drone has pushed up on towards this red container, and this is a fairly solid position to play to get some information and to try and get some kills. And you can see Drone will not be tested towards outside all that much. There is one player here, it's John G walking through the smokes, but Drone will find him in the back for the first kill of the round. Moose is boosted up, should get the trade kill, and Drone can't quite hold that position as he ends up getting traded on, but still, some good information from him early on as he dances around that crate. In the meantime, with 40 seconds left, Rise Nation have decided the push should come through towards this position on towards Roka. He will be forced to fall back from ramp, going for that re-peek with that flashbang, gets him the kill. In comes Moose, solid spray down to take down Mitch, so he evenly trade across the board as we go back to a 3-on-3, and here goes VSA spraying through. Roka's in so much trouble as the hole opens up in the door and exposes a wild Roka caught with his pants down. Davey opens up the door, tries to deny the plant, but instead will just get the kill after the bomb goes down. So we go back to a 2v2 as the trades continue back and forth across the board, but Davey isn't happy with even trades as he gets another kill of his own. Ace finds a frag, but he's so low on health here, and actually Davey's thinking about sticking the defuse, decides against it. Molotov will go up, and that might just force Ace out into the open here. He doesn't realise the defuse is still coming through. He's going to push towards the position, and Davey isn't aware of the push coming towards rafters. You'd have thought he might have been able to hear the steps there, but being so low on health, couldn't really react in time. And Rise Nation will continue to extend their lead to a 4-1 margin, and more importantly, continue to pressure that Splyce economy, which will keep low. Again, I think Nuke is certainly a map where these pistols can be powerful. You can see the CZs able to hold a fair few close range angles, although the one position that of course is going to be incredibly difficult to hold off is any outside aggression. Drone is the man that is tasked with trying to do that with just a deagle in his hands. Roka himself has pushed through aggressively in towards Radio Room. Or I guess this is called Trophy Room now with the remake. Here comes the peek from Dazzle. He gets traded on by Semphis. I don't think it will lead to too much, but Semphis opens things up further with a second kill before he falls. So at least 2 kills for Splyce there, trying to sort of stem the bleeding in terms of Rise Nation building up such strong money so far. But you can see it's not going to make all that much of an impact to their money because Rise Nation are still incredibly rich. So here we go, round number 7. Semphis has a great spawn with the AWP. But Nuke is a map where you can't really go for too many peaks early on with the AWP to try and get that first pick for your team proactively. I feel like on the CT side, you're going to have to just sit back for the most part and wait for terrorists to push towards your position. And you can see Semphis is going to be forced to rotate back around because holding outside by yourself is just so tricky. He's going to come back up to the rafters and look to hold from upper. Peaks should come through momentarily, and Semphis, from this sort of off angle, might just be favoured in the opening fights as he gets that opening frag. And now Semphis surely should just be happy to fall back to safety, although Semphis is going to stick around for a little bit longer. In the meantime, Drone gets 2 kills. Not quite sure where that happened. What I do know is that Ace is the one man left, and he is going to get caught off guard by Semphis. So as we head into round number 8, Splyce off the back of a round win will of course go for the buy again, although Mitch is forced down to a mag 7. Semphis will continue with the AWP, and that certainly helped them in the previous round where he got that first kill. And generally the first kill in rounds is often really important just to almost settle the nerves and get yourself up to a man advantage, because that just makes it so much easier to hold when a push comes through. And that's why I think AWPs are so highly valued, because they can be successful in getting the opening kill. If you're having trouble with spoilers in chat, you can try pressing that live button, because you might be a little bit behind the actual YouTube stream, if you know what I mean. For some reason, if YouTube buffers, like you get like pushed behind everyone else. So yeah, try that out. I'm just going to look for this headshot, tapping away to take down Moose. And there's no push coming through to try and trade on towards him, so Splyce seem to be able to get a clean one-man advantage. Drone able to reposition without any risk of him going down. And with 50 seconds left, in goes Mitch up close in towards Hut to get that kill with the mag 7, and again showing how powerful shotguns can be in the right position. John G in towards the vents is going to try and make his way towards the B site with the rest of his lineup. And they do overwhelm Roka, who was solo holding towards the B site, which is a bit of a strange decision because you can see now the bomb will go down. And Ace is going to be in quite a powerful position to play from the post plant. In the meantime, VSA finds a frag of his own. So we go back to a 3v3, and there's Jonji to chime in with a third on the round for Rise Nation. And out of nowhere, they swing it back into their favour here. As the pushes continue, they are just winning every individual fight. Finally, Sempfish shows up for Splyce, but it might just be too little too late, as he is the one man left. Switching it up to the rifle, but in comes Jonji to catch him off guard from the vents. And Splyce, after doing such a good job at gaining the early two-man lead into their favour, Rise Nation just win every single individual fight. And that comes back to bite Splyce, who now themselves will be stuck with pistols. You don't know if Nuke is T or CT sided. Again, I think a lot of these things, it's not so like black and white that you can say, right, it's always CT or it's always T-sided, you know. I think oftentimes, of course, it depends on the individual matchups and which side either team is more comfortable on. So that's maybe why you're a bit confused. Davey got a kill here from upper, but I don't think he should get too much more as, oh my goodness gracious, Ace swings back around to just about get the kill. Thought for a second there, Dave, he might be good for a second frag, but he ends up going down.
Dude, I swear I hit that guy like 99 times.
So Mitch picks up that AK. And Rise Nation weren't quite watching towards that, so this could just be an AK saved. Semphis himself, of course, with just a P250, won't be really looking to save this gun. So he should be going for some exit kills. In the meantime, Mitch, holding off here, will go all the way back in towards a safe position, although it's not as safe as he might hope for, because Jonji has spotted him out and now should be aware that that was an AK shot he heard. So Rise Nation might just look to hunt Mitch down aggressively. He's going to hold off, but you can see the players filing in towards his position. This is going to be difficult for Mitch now. Here comes the push. Jonji just wins the first fight, so there's nothing to be done. Splyce should still have money into this round, although Mitch is forced down to a mag 7, so saving that AK could have been nice for him. But again, he was showing how he can use the mag 7 in the previous gun rounds. Playing up close in towards Hut was certainly successful for him. And he will hope it continues to be successful here in this 10th round, because Splyce, as a team, haven't really had all that much success so far. Maybe some individual players have had some good rounds, but it's certainly been nothing they can rely on consistently. And again, Rise Nation are more than happy to try and exploit outside, which is just such a difficult position to hold off from. This is the one reason why I think terrorists can fairly often exploit a position in the CT setup, because it's so tricky to hold towards outside. You can already see the players filing their way through, and when the nades come out, the CTs can't really do anything against them. Semphis is the one player who's likely to be taking some early engagements if the push does indeed come down secret. And here we go, in comes the peak, but Semphis is more than ready for it. He gets that opening kill and also has Mitch for support as Semphis finds a second kill on the round. And that AWP is making a fairly big impact in this game. In comes Moose for the flank from Heaven, which is a new option, of course, in this new version of Nuke, but it only leads to 1 kill this time, and that's not quite going to be enough. So Jonji left in a 1 versus 4. Will possibly just look to do some economic damage. However, Semphis denies that, as he almost uses the AWP as a shotgun there, up close, to get that kill. And a 3k on the round for Semphis pulls Splyce through to get themselves their 3rd round on the board. And again, quite importantly, we saw there, I think it was, 4 guns saved at the end of the round, so they don't have to reinvest all that heavily. And they will be able to start to build up just a little bit of cash in the bank at the latter stages of this first half. Rise Nation going to switch up the pace of their play here. They've gone slow so far. However, this is going to be a quick scrimmage on towards this A-bomb site. It seems like Semphis has got a collateral in the process, so it's just Moose and Jonji already left alive on the T side. And Roka is happy to go aggressive all the way through ramp to find the flank, leaving Jonji by himself. There is the first and the second kill from Jonji. And now he leaves it in a 1-on-1 against Drone. And he might just pull off this clutch. Drone is so low on health that surely Jonji just needs 1 bullet to pull this off. and he flicks to the head to make it look even better than it needed to be. What a round from John G. That spray transfer was just so insane. And then even makes it look a little bit better for the final frag, finding their headshot. And that's just such a brutal round for Splyce now, because look at what this means for them. The money is just too bad to invest into a buy. So just as it looks like Splyce might be getting themselves back into superiority, they themselves are forced down into a low buy. 250 peeking, and how is Ace caught off guard there? Mitch will happily gain that first free kill. In comes Drone to backstab a player, and what is happening in this round?
What do you mean? They go to ramp.
They're fucking broke. Why would we? Dude.
Rise Nation guy's not happy with how that went, as Moose himself is caught in the back, and I think pretty much every Rise Nation player there seemed to die without even seeing an opponent. Such a weird round, and just as it looks like Splyce themselves are out of things, they win an insane round to get themselves right back into it. So we'll go back to an 8-4 scoreline, and now Rise Nation are going to be on the back foot. And if Splyce could, you know, get a couple of rounds here to close out the half, that could really help their chances heading into their terrorist side. Rise Nation possibly thinking about some early aggression, but with the Molotovs coming through, I don't think they're going to be thinking about it for too much longer, because the flames will force them back. Drone holding on towards this position, gets a quick headshot on towards John G. And again, a little bit strange to see John G just peeking by himself there. You know, if Rise Nation just have a second player ready to swing out to try and get the trade kill, they'd probably bring it down to a 4-on-4. But instead, that does not happen, and Splyce will happily themselves gain a 2-man advantage, although Dazzle again shoots an opponent in the back with that CZ before the trade comes through. So Splyce with the 2-man advantage at this point should almost certainly be closing this one out. Although the 2 players remaining from Rise Nation do both have AKs. It's VSA and Ace in the 2v4. They're going to have to rely on some quick headshots here, you would think.
I mean, he called to go ramp, and then I'm like holding back lobby, and Ace just like ran into...
Ace gets 1 kill, but in comes the trade. So Splyce themselves will start to build up a little bit on their CT side here at these late rounds. However, is it too little too late? That is the question on everyone's minds. I think considering they've managed to break the Rise Nation economy at this late stage of the first half, they might just get enough rounds on the board to be able to really compete into the second half, all things considered. 7 rounds CT side of Nuke. I think that's certainly playable heading into the second half. Even if you're not that happy with the scoreline, it should be good enough to play from. Here comes Drone playing up close with the silenced M4. Not quite able to get too many kills on the spray down as the bomb goes down elsewhere towards B. The nade just dunks on towards Dazzle, but the bomb goes down just in time for Rise Nation to get a tad bit of extra money. And the defuse surely will come through now. VSA is just looking to hold on to what he can. So as we head into round number 15, off the back of the bomb plant, Rise Nation should get full nades across the board. So all things considered for Rise Nation, I think they'll be relatively happy with how that round went, as well as a saved rifle, which would allow them to buy up an AWP and drop it over if they wanted to. But they decide against it, just going for the 5 rifles in the last round of this first half. In the meantime, Semphis will be happy to buy up the AWP for the CT side. And when he's been called upon to land shots with this AWP, he's been fairly successful so far. And let's see if that continues to be the case here, as he's holding a fairly close range angle up in towards Squeaky Door. The door will be naded out. So any Rise Nation player that pushes through here might just get caught off guard. You can see Dazzle thinking about going for the peek, but Mitch gets that opening kill. And I really like how Splyce played that, because of course there was no audio cue of them opening up the door. It just got blown up. So Rise Nation weren't really aware that the push was coming through Squeaky. In the meantime, Mitch himself has gone all the way through lobby, and the bomb might just be into his hands as Mitch gets a second kill. VSA is dropped down, and now John G and Ace
both just sitting at red, just posted on the fucking outside rafters.
have to try and recover the bomb. Mitch catches Ace off guard as John G sneaks his way forward. He might just get the bomb and catch Mitch off guard for the first kill, but he's so low on health that it's difficult to see him doing anything else from this position. pushes his way forward, but Semphis runs straight through the door to get the final kill of this first half. As Rise Nation will have the slight lead heading into their CT side, but Splyce certainly salvaged, you know, a fair few rounds at the end there and salvaged a position that is, you know, at least winnable for them, I think, even if they aren't too happy with how it has gone. So here we go, underway into the second half of the action. Splyce have decided to go for a Molotov and 2 flashes, which is a little bit weird to see on the T side pistol round. You don't often see the Molotovs brought up there. Oftentimes it's a smoke to try and push towards a bomb site. But I guess on Nuke particularly, the smokes aren't really as useful when you're trying to take a site. So I understand why Davey has decided to go for the Molotov instead, especially if they are trying to go towards that B site, where the Molotov could be very, very useful in terms of attempting to counter any defuse that comes through. At the same time, Ace himself has a smoke, so if he got his smoke towards the site and tried to stick it with the kit, that's also a possibility. It looks like we're just going to see this round play out incredibly slowly to start things off. We've still got a minute left on the clock, so Splyce don't have to push through just yet if they don't want to, but it seems like they have made their decision to move over towards ramp and go for some early pushes. Ace has rotated his way over to Hell, and oh, what a shot from Ace. He rotates back round towards outside and will spot out Semphis, but he is overwhelmed by the Glock. And I don't think Davey placed the Molotov there exactly where he wanted to. The flashes, however, will go over the top and allow Drone to gain some ground as he gets a kill for himself. Moose, though, has got his way towards the site, and they're just not watching this position here. Davey himself goes down, and that cannot be happening. It's Semphis 1-on-2 to try and flick back around and save the round for Splyce. 25 seconds left, and he's just got 19 HP to play with. Peeks out into the open and spots out Moose's position. Still, time is a factor here as Moose tries to save himself, but he doesn't even need to because instead he just finds the frag. And how on earth does that happen for Splyce there? They're not watching for the flank to come through. The bomb plant gets denied. And off the back of it, Rise Nation take the all-important CT pistol round. As far as I'm aware, the only pistol round Splyce have won in this game, or sorry, in this series so far, including the first map, was the CT pistol round on Nuke, and even that instantaneously went back against them due to that force by win. So not exactly great in terms of the pistol round success for Splyce. Either way, let's see what they can do with CZs now, as they will have at least some investment into this round. Getting a quick look at the scoreboard, and no one particularly standing out. Although when Semphis had that AWP, I certainly feel like he was landing some nice shots with it. So I'll be interested to see if he decides to go for that on the T side. Either way, we're going to see the pistols look to overwhelm in towards ramp. As the smoke goes down, and oh, the UMP running and gunning to get the kill on towards Mitch. And Splyce, despite gaining ramp control, might not get too much out of it, because as the push comes towards the B site, Jonji is in a pretty solid position to try and shut this down, and he might just call for the rotate. Jonji sneaks his way back in towards that toxic room, and he has called for the rotate down, which allows VSA to open things up and take a fairly easy round into Rise Nation's favour, with all players surviving. Even if Dazzle only survives on 1 HP, they all count. As Rise Nation get up to double digits first. And again, Splyce down to a hard eco here, so you wouldn't expect them to be able to have any chance in this round. Although with some of the rounds we've seen so far in this very game, Splyce might just have an opportunity to come out on top with mostly Glocks to play with. We've seen a couple of pistol buys, which should never have really had a chance, have some success so far. And you can see Splyce going all the way through outside. Nice shots from Ace. He gets 2 headshots, but the trade comes through and the FAMAS is dropped down. Luckily for Rise Nation, they can adapt quite well because they've all rotated over to ensure there is no opportunity for Splyce to get anything going. And so there we go. The 11-7 scoreline comes through as expected. And here we go. The first gun round will come underway. Semphis is not able to afford that AWP, so he's just going to go for the AK with full nades. And again, you know, he was landing some solid shots on that first half, as I was saying, but it's quite difficult to utilize the AWP on the T side of Nuke. So we might not get to see that from Semphis, and instead they will have to rely on the AKs alone. Ace going to get pushed towards ramp, and that is where the AWP was holding, so he just gets overwhelmed as he only rattles off one shot that slightly misses wide. And now as we see the push come in towards ramp, Splyce should just be able to gain control towards B. Davey, peeking out, clears the corner. Good methodical play to make sure he isn't caught in the back. And now Splyce will gain a 2-man lead. But again, Rise Nation on these rounds fairly often seem to be keeping their weaker weapons. And that leaves them with so much money left in the bank that they will still have an incredibly strong buy heading into round 20. So I'm sure they won't be too worried about how things are going. Even though they're going to lose this round more than likely, they will still have likely a stronger buy heading into the next round.
It's a little bit to the right.
Just kept
Just
shooting
a
at the
wee
same
bit.
spot.
Because it's the ump.
Looks like Dazzle missed his spray down there, but we won't fret on it too much. Instead, we'll focus on VSA, who won't miss his spray down into the face of Mitch. And oh, that's a nice flick from VSA to get a second kill on the round. Won't particularly lead to anything, except for
Bro just
Splyce
rushes me at the fucking AK. What's he
losing
doing?
an extra gun, and Jonji himself should
Yeah.
come out on top here
Pissed.
in this engagement. So Splyce are losing a fair few rifles at the end of this round. In fact, Roker and Semphis are going to be forced to push on the edge of the flames. The bomb doesn't do too much damage to them, but Semphis is caught out. That's the AWP drop down, and Roker won't be able to recover it in time. And those are some hugely important kills for Splyce that they could not afford to throw away, because you can see the buy's going to come into this round, but just look at the money across the entire team. Okay, sure, they're going to get full rifles across the entirety of the lineup, but Davey is down to a Galil. Semphis doesn't have any nades. Mitch only one smoke. Drone only one flash. It's not looking great in terms of the utility on the Splyce side. And that might just mean they go for some quick aggression, and you can see it's not going to work out as Jonji is successful in the hold on the first fight. And oh no, Drone is just going to burn alive. I think he might have been blocked a little bit by Davey. He himself gets a kill back. But still, just such a long way to come back into this round now for Splyce. Roker's going to try and play on the edge of the fading smoke. Davey himself with just the Galil is down low, so it's heavily on Roker to have any chance for Splyce in this round. A little over a minute left on the clock is still plenty of time, but time was never really going to be a problem for Splyce. It's the fact that they are down 2 men. Roker slowly but surely inches his way forward into his death as Ace shuts him down, and Davey doesn't really have anything else to be done in that position. So Rise Nation not only go up to a 12-8 lead, but they also completely destroy the Splyce economy. And that might just be the story of this second map now, because Splyce here, I mean, what can they do? It's as simple as that. By the way, Rise Nation here, taking a tactical timeout, which I really don't mind, all things considered, because we've seen them in the previous round get overwhelmed when the opponents were on a weak buy. So it's good to see that they know for sure exactly what everyone is doing, and you have 4 of those tactical timeouts that we haven't really seen be used either way. So I'm actually very impressed that Rise Nation had the frame of mind to just use the timeout there, make sure they don't just get overwhelmed by some, rush from Splyce that they don't expect. They can all get on the same wavelength in terms of the fact that Splyce are going to have a weak buy. Although Splyce themselves have decided to take a huge risk here. They've themselves gone for the Force, with Roker only having the AK. So if they lose this round, they're just going to have such a huge round deficit. You would think that Rise Nation would likely be able to just sort of cruise to victory. Either way, Splyce, with the smokes towards outside, will get their way down towards the B bomb site. However, they have little utility to gain control there, so they're going to have to rely on the AK of Roker, who will step up to the plate with a quick headshot. And oh, Roker is just going in on this B site as he finds another frag.
I guess they just know they
Huge
like this.
play from him as the force buy might just work out for Splyce. They get the bomb down in a man advantage, and Roker is hungry for more as he gets a third before Ace finally shuts him down. But surely the damage is already done as Roker just turns God mode for one single round. But what an important round it was to step up for his team.
Stopped him from being able to do that.
The Splyce will bring us back to a 12-9 scoreline. I mean, you can say what you like about Roka in terms of him making some mistakes, but if he can provide rounds like that where he can also win rounds for your team, that certainly clearly provides some value to the team in and of itself. And this game might just be a little bit closer than we were initially expecting, because as Splyce win that 4-spy, not only do we go back to a 12-9 scoreline, but again, as I was saying earlier, now this one is certainly just up in the air in terms of which way it could go. I mean, you can see the money on both sides is so weak that whoever loses this is very likely going to be forced down to a weak or even full eco in terms of their buy. So this round now becomes hugely important. And if Splyce can win it, then they certainly can still play for the win here on Nuke. Davey is forced down to a Galil, but the rest of the team have full rifles. You can see Splyce looking to exploit the outside aggression, but Semphis overlooks the position of Jonji, who should just be caught out in the open with nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, as Roka finds that trade. Even trade early on in general should favour the terrorists, especially as they push their way in towards heaven. Rise Nation have to be worried off this position, and you can see what that means for Dazzle, who's having to watch just so many angles. Moose himself is caught off guard.
You just pre-fired me.
And it seems like the momentum is slowly but surely shifting in favour of Splyce. It's VSA holding towards the site. A little bit weird crosshair move, but we will see the push come through, and VSA is ready for it as he gets 2 of his own. And that mistake from Splyce could cost them now, because Ace and VSA are in solid positions, but VSA loses that individual fight. Ace himself gets the trade, and we're down to a 1-on-1. And what an important 1-on-1 this is. Ace has control of the bomb, so Mitch will mainly play for the frag. Ace spots him out, takes the shot, but doesn't quite land it. In comes the smoke, as he will try to play around the bomb site and just keep himself alive as long as possible. But with 25 seconds left, Mitch only has to play for the frag. You can feel the nerves in the air for both of these players as Mitch goes into the open, but Ace comes out on top. And you can see what that means to the Rise Nation players. Jonji is hyped, because they know they may have just broken the Splyce economy enough to, in theory, win this subsequent round. Although, again, nothing is guaranteed in this game, because we saw with just a single AK in the previous round, Roka was able to open things up. And this time they have both Semphis and Mitch with AKs in their hands. So Rise Nation can't celebrate just yet, because they still have to beat the buy of Splyce here. Here we go, Mitch pushing through the smoke, and just look at what the AKs can do. Again, an early headshot on towards Jonji. The man who was hyped up in the previous round won't be so hyped up anymore, because he has single-handedly lost control of ramp, and now the B site might just be wide open for the taking, unless Moose has anything to say about it. He gets the 1 and the 2nd kill on the hold. He tries to push through further, but Roka is more than ready to bring us down to a 3-on-3.
He's so mad.
Davey with the bomb is a little bit worried there could be a player in towards ramp.
These guys are all turtled up. Fucking
If Dazzle gets the timing right here, he could just find Davey in the back. But I think Davey has just about circumvented the position well. He should just make his way towards the B site. 40 seconds left, and Dazzle is still walking all the way through to get himself towards B. And if Splyce aren't careful, they might not expect a player to come out from ramp. It's going to be Roka to take the initial fight. Quick dink from him, and he flicks back for another headshot. Huge kill from Roka, because now with a man advantage and information as to where Dazzle is positioned, you would think Splyce would be able to come out on top. Especially as Roka finds another kill for his team. And in these recent rounds, Roka has really been a huge asset to this Splyce lineup. Another 3k for him, as Splyce will win another massively important round if they want to go for that comeback. And I'm sure that they do want to go for that comeback, as we see Ace is forced to save his AWP. And as we were saying, Rise Nation's money is low, and this one could really go down to the wire now. So Splyce at least secure themselves double digits as we go back to a 13-10 scoreline. However, Rise Nation themselves, I'm sure, will still be hoping to close this out with the 3-round lead. They have elected to force into this round, except for Ace, who saved the AWP, who doesn't have to invest anything into this one. In comes the early fight from Roka. Seems like he may have spotted Ace in this position. Not quite getting a whiff of the pixel there, and instead it's Ace to peek out with the AWP and take a clean headshot on towards Roka. The man who's been playing so well in the recent rounds gets dropped early on here. And who else from Splyce can step up to his shoulders? There's a kill for Drone, but in comes the trade from Jonji, the CZ at long range, getting some damage done. So Rise Nation hold on to their man lead. But the bomb might just be able to go down onto the B site now as Splyce push their way out through ramp. You can see they're gaining a fair amount of control here. Jonji has come down the vents, so that's something Splyce need to be wary of. In comes the smoke. Davey planting out in the open, but he has made sure he is not exposed from vents, so that's a good start. Mitch finds one kill before the trade comes through quickly, and that will be an AK recovered for Rise Nation. Dazzle is smoked off here, so does he decide to push through the smoke? That's the question on all of our minds. He's still thinking about it, but instead will just wait patiently because he knows his teammates are in great positions. And you can see what that means to Rise Nation again as they take it back to a 14-10 lead. But with the way these recent rounds have been going, I mean, again, this has been a little bit sloppy back and forth. Neither side really able to win the rounds they should be, I think it's fair to say. Splyce themselves, again, at this point, just have to force up, so they will go for the buy. AKs on 3 players, a couple of pistols in the mix. Certainly still, again, a decent enough buy where they could come out on top. And let's see what they have in mind here as a fair few smokes go towards outside early on. It seems like that's sort of the core, the crux, if you like, of Splyce's early game strategy in these rounds. They're going to get their way down towards Secret, and this time it might just be a simple, quick push on towards the B bomb site. And Rise Nation might not be all that ready for that. You can see there's no one in position to stop this right now. Splyce are just going to get a free bomb plant in the 5v5 here, and this has to be an oversight from Rise Nation. Surely they have to realise the B site is being gained control of right now, as Splyce will plant in the middle of the smoke. Finally, Dazzle tries to come down, but he just gifts an AK to Mitch. Fortunately for him, he's not able to do anything with it as VSA finds the trade, and more importantly, Ace gets a quick kill with the AWP himself. Sendry clears out one position. Rise Nation still with plenty of utility for the retake, but here comes Davey. One free kill in the back, and he makes it a second with that AK. Perfect position from him as he looks for the third. And Splyce again win the force straight back at them as Rise Nation overlook the possibility to push all the way through outside. I mean, just look at how these recent rounds have played. It's a round for Splyce, then a round for Rise Nation, then a round straight back for Splyce. It's just been so back and forth. Neither side able to win really any subsequent rounds. But surely, if there was any chance to win a second round in a row, this would have to be it. Because just look at the buy from the CTs. There is no way they win with this buy. Come on, guys. Ace fires off a shot. Not finding the head just yet. They know there's a deagle here now towards outside. And Davey not quite spotted out there as Ace might just look to reposition. Davey does spot out Ace eventually, but doesn't mean he can get the kill off the back of the information gained. And Ace at long range with the Deeg, trying to get this headshot. He's being given time here to rattle off some shots, but none of them quite connect. And in the meantime, Mitch will open things up. He's not going to miss with his AK as he takes down VSA early on. And Splyce again, happy to try and consistently go towards outside as they make their way down Secret. Seems like this has worked fairly well for Splyce, but they don't really have too much to fall back on in terms of secondary round tactics, if you like. Their smokes towards outside and pushing towards Secret has been fairly successful, and you can see again, Rise Nation really not that ready for this one. This is exactly what happened in the previous round. Rise Nation don't really have anyone towards that B bomb site. I know they only have the pistols here, so they can afford to take a gamble, but they might just have to switch something up in the gun rounds, because otherwise Splyce may just continue to just push straight down towards the B site.
They just committed their whole team to losing the round just to kill me.
I mean, I can see why Davey's frustrated, but Rise Nation are fairly happy with just saving an AK here because Jonji's money is so much lower than the rest of the teams that it's probably worth Rise Nation just all hunting Davey down, getting that AK, and having a much stronger buy into the next round. So Splyce will pint... Well, if you can't tell, it's pretty late here in the UK. It's 4 AM right now. I'm messing up my words a little bit, but Splyce will finally put a stop to the madness of the constant back and forth rounds. They will get their second in a row. And Dazzle will hang on to that AK-47, so that should just be dropped over to Jonji to allow the entire team rifles across the board. And here we go, round number 27 could be such a critical round in deciding the fate of this map. Both teams on buys, both teams with not great money behind. And let's guess what Splyce are going to do. It looks like, again, the play is just to go towards outside, although it's a little bit of a bamboozle here from the Splyce players. They throw the smokes towards outside, however this time they're not going to go down towards secret. Instead they make their way back towards A, in towards lobby. Nade's coming through, looking to quickly push towards this A bomb site, and you can see the CT's forced to fall back so passively. Splyce just overwhelmed the A players early on into the round. And this is something we haven't seen from Splyce so far, so you can see Rise Nation really caught off guard by it. Really good to see they still have strategies at this point. The smoke does unfortunately go tumbling down, so Heaven won't quite be smoked off. That's going to force Drone to watch towards this position, and he certainly spotted out Jonji there. Elsewhere, Moose gets a kill, but Drone always going to be favoured in that fight, and Moose himself will fall. So yeah, really impressive that Splyce have that sort of depth to their strategies, where they still can go for the A site execute. And just kind of a few flashes on towards A is all they really needed, it seemed, to overwhelm the Rise Nation players so quickly. You could see it wasn't really that the Rise Nation players got overwhelmed. It was more that they were forced to hold such passive angles as the flashes came over the top and forced them to fall back. That Splyce gained a lot of ground towards the site before anything could be done. Either way, again, Rise Nation down to pistols. And as we head into round number 28, whenever you are this late on into a game, you never really want to be down to such a weak buy like Rise Nation are on right now. Rise Nation are going to go for aggression early, and as they push in towards lobby, they should surely be aware that Splyce are more than likely all over towards outside. So now the question becomes, what is the reaction from Rise Nation to try and get a kill or two? The answer is to stack towards the A bomb site, but it turns out that's not going to work for them. As Jonji finds a quick kill with a CZ over towards Squeaky Door, but again, not really too much is going to come from it. As Mitch finds the trade, and there we go, Semphis cleans things up. So this game, after 28 rounds, could not be closer. 14-14. These teams cannot be separated at this point. But after this round, one team will have the slight edge and will either get to play for overtime or win the game outright. Doesn't get more simple than this, folks. This round is the most important up until this point. Round number 29. Let's see what Splyce have in mind, because we've seen them have some depth to their strategies. We've seen them be content to go for some A aggression. That might make Rise Nation a little bit worried, because we've seen a fair few T-side tactics from Splyce here. And this one seems to be a quick A play yet again, with plenty of time left on the clock. They're going to go very quickly on towards this A bomb site. However, this time Ace is ready. How is Drone here on the site, though? He gets 2 kills of his own. Make it a third for Drone. And Jonji is the one man left. 1 on 3 to try and regain control. He gets the 1 and the 2 kills. Oh my god, that was so close for Jonji. He nearly pulls off the impossible. But Splyce cling on to the round win. They just about managed to get it in their favour. And now it's Splyce who have the chance for map points and to salvage a 1-1 scoreline in this series. Rise Nation themselves, of course, have to force up because this is round number 30. This is it. They have to win this round just to keep themselves within a chance of winning Nuke. Hopefully I didn't just wake up anyone in my house. We'll have to see. Push coming towards outside, and Semphis has taken a chunk of damage early on. He's gone for this T-side AWP, which we haven't seen whatsoever from Splyce up until this point. So let's see if this switch-up can do anything for Splyce at these early stages. Instead, it's Davey to open things up with a quick headshot. Don't think that's where Semphis wanted to place the Molotov, but it shouldn't matter too much as the rest of Splyce look to make their way
Man, they let him get
seemingly
away,
over
man.
towards Hell.
Like how?
Still so much time for Splyce to play with that they don't have to feel forced into making a move that they don't want to just yet. A minute left on the clock. And here comes the flash in towards Heaven for Drone to peek through. There's a quick headshot for him as Moose up close with the UMP will not get anything going. VSA is still lurking in such a sneaky position. They might not expect him to be here as he's going to try and make his way up. In the meantime, Dazzle finds a frag of his own, and here comes VSA pushing up the ladder. Only good for 1 kill, so it's John G 1v2. But surely Drone will not expect another player to come up here. What a shot from Drone! Flicking back around to find the headshot. A 3k from him, and Splyce will take this second map 16-14 into their favour. What a great final map here, 16-14, so back and forth. Not exactly the best quality CS at some points, but certainly was hella entertaining. I think that's fair to say. If you guys did enjoy this, if you guys did enjoy the casting, I would love it if you could, just check me out on Twitter or something, subscribe on YouTube, whatever you want to do to give me support is always appreciated, of course. My name is Hawker, bringing you all of the action, I really enjoy casting, and hopefully you enjoyed watching it. Other than that, I should probably go to sleep now because it's 4 AM here in the UK. So again, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. 1,500 viewers is so awesome. So really appreciate everyone tuning in. And yeah, other than that, I hope that you have a good day, and I hope that I will see you some other time. Peace.